All right, so thank you so much for watching our video. So this is Team 11A. My name is Tao. I'm going to give you a really quick overview about how to use our drone delivery system. So if you use a Windows system, you're actually lucky. You can start this system in one click. So you can just click the Windows run or batch file in the directory that we provided to you. And after you click this button, you can see two windows is going to pop up automatically. One of the windows is going to run through all the Docker information, do all the connection to the SQL database for you. The other window is going to start the Java program for the get user interface of our program. So one thing you need to be patient here is you want to wait until you see this message, which is showing like ready for connection version 8.027. And this is actually the final message when the Docker is really started. So let's just give it a little bit moment for this setup to start. And if you try to do this Docker setup for the first time, probably it's going to take you like 2 minutes. But if you try to do it for the second time, maybe like 60 seconds. All right, now we're already seeing these ready messages. So we can click any key to start our program. Okay, so now you can see the GUI interface of our program. So to use our grocery express delivery system, so today I'm going to give you this demonstration in a way like maybe like 3 components to show like how this system can be used. So basically, we want to set up the supporters for a purchase, like for a customer to make those purchase. And we want to sign up for the customer who is going to actually make these purchase happen. And then we want to compare those purchase and compare the different variables in our system to see if they have been changed correspondingly. So let's try to log in as admin to set up those supporters. So as admin, you can use the username that we provided to you, admin, and password 39, and click login. So once it shows login successful, it's going to pop up admin interface. In the admin interface, we can do a bunch of things to set up the supporters for the customer. Let's try to make a store. The store name can be like Kroger, and we want to provide a revenue for this store. And that is consistent with our previous assignment. So it's Kroger 33,000 revenue. And then we can click the display store to make sure everything has been set up. Okay, so the store has already been created. Once we have the store, we want to add items that is going to be sold by this store. So let's try to make cheesecake available in this shop. Cheesecake. And so let's put the store's name first. So it's Kroger. And the item is cheesecake. And the weight is like maybe like 4 pounds. Again, we can use display items, put in our store name, and click display to make sure everything has been timed correctly. So the second thing we want to do is try to make a pilot, who is going to drive the drone to make this delivery happen. So let's click make a new pilot. So we can use a new pilot account FFIGA, which is the same one we use in our previous assignment, and put in his name, maybe like Sunny, phone number is 112 and 63, whatever you want, and text ID, license ID, which may be, let's see what license I think we used before. Experience 33. Okay, and let's save his information. And we can always use display pilots to make sure everything has been timed correctly. So we do have this pilot in our file. Okay, so now we have the pilot that we want to make a drone. So we can click make drone and go to the time in the store name, Kroger. The drone ID, let's do maybe 1, and capacity for this drone to carry is like 40 pounds. Let's just make it 1 field for it to run. Again, we can do the display drone to make sure we do have this drone in this store. So we have all the information shown here. So that should work. So once we have the drone, we need to assign a pilot to the drone, right? So in order to assign a pilot to the drone, we want to time the store ID, the drone ID, which is 1, and the pilot ID, FFIG8, that's the one we used before. And okay, as long as all information is in file, that is going to work. Now let's try to see how many orders we have in this store. Since we just created this store, so we shouldn't have any order at all. Once we click display, nothing showing up. All right, so we pretty much finished all the setup for the supporters for this purchase to happen. So now let's go back to the initial interface, try to create some customers. All right, there are 2 ways you can create a customer. One way is you can go back to the admin interface. You can make a customer here. So maybe account like Apple 2, for 8, which is the one we use in our first assignment. Add an account. and any phone number should work. Rating, let's do a 5 and provide a credit. So that's one way to create a customer. The other way to create a customer, you can actually send up a new customer here. So you can just send up this child here. Make sure your password is consistent. So this account can be created. So we can try to log in as child and see what happens. So once you log in as a customer, your interface is actually different from the admin. But before you try to start an order, because since I haven't really created my account using the admin interface, if I just log in as a new customer, you probably don't have any information in file, right? So the first thing you want to do is try to fill in those blanks, try to update your personal information. Therefore, you can use those services correctly. I'm going to make my writing as 5. Let me have 100 credits that I can use. So as long as I have all the information, I can start making orders. So in order to make an order happen, you want to create an order ID first. So the store name is Kroger, and the order ID we can do at 1, and the drum ID is 1, so we can use the number 1 drum to run our order. So let's click save, so that works. And we can start requesting items. The items that is available in the store is cheesecake, right? So we can try to buy some cheesecake. So we need to remember the previous order ID that we have, which is 1. And then we can start adding the cheesecake into this order. Let's do like 10 cheesecake. Each one is like $4, I guess. And let's click save. All right, so at this point, you have already requested the item and start the order. The next step we want to do is to purchase the order. But before we make the final purchasing, let's go back to the admin interface to make sure that the admin has already received all information that we tie in and is consistent. So once we log in into the admin interface, let's try to display the drum for the Kroger store. And what you find is that the drum has a total capacity of 40. Now the remaining capacity is 0 because we are buying like 10 cheesecakes and each cheesecake is like 4 pounds. So it's actually using our order capacity in this drum. So that is consistent. And then we want to display the order to see if this order is already in file. Now we do have this order number 1 in the item cheesecake. So that is consistent. Now we can go back to the customer interface to make this order. Now, let's click purchase order. In the order, the store number and the order ID, which is 1. And click save. Okay, so the change is done. The easiest way to confirm that this order has been done completely or correctly is to just click the edit profile button. If you check your profile, you can see the credit now has already been updated. Remember, I put in 100 credit before, and I actually already ordered like 10 cheesecake. Each cheesecake is like $4, and the 50 credit is showing as the right value. And we can go back to the admin side to make sure everything is still looking good. And let's display the drum to see if this drum has updated information. Okay, so the drum now has like 40 remaining capacity, but the remaining fields, like the trees left, is now 0. So that everything has been updated. And we can display the pilot. Remember, the pilot previous has like 33 experience. Now the experience has been updated to 34. Another thing we can do is to confirm the order numbers in the store. So there's nothing showing here. That means that this order has been processed correctly. So that's one way to make an order. The other way you can do is try to use the customer that we have already created in the admin side. But in order to do it, you have to match your customer ID. The way to do it is to put in a customer ID that has been created before in the admin interface, which is Apple II. And the password you can use whatever password. As long as this user account ID is consistent, you should be able to create your account correctly. So now let's try to log in as this account. See what it says invalid. Here. I guess I forgot my password. I see. So what happens is that now, because I was choosing like the admin level, now it should be the customer. Let's try to do a customer user tab. Sorry for that. That should work. Okay, now I'm logged in. Okay, so as now you can see this ID has been updated. Let's try to see what can we find in our profile. By clicking the edit profile, you can see this information has been updated automatically because we have already connected our account with the previous created account by the admin. So let's try to make another order using this new account in order 2 and using a drum to run it. And let's try to request the cheesecake again. Order 2, cheesecake. Let's do 1 for each. Okay, it seems to work. But let's try to purchase order and see what happens. Oh, it comes out with an error message that says that the John needs to be refilled. Because remember, I showed you before that the John doesn't have any fuel remaining, so that actually is not going to happen. So we will not be able to make a purchase here. But you can still cancel your order. So you can type in the store name and order ID and just click save. Okay, now this order has already been canceled. Now you can go back to the admin side. See if this order is still there. And there's nothing. So I guess these will be helpful tips for you to use our express delivery system. And thanks so much for watching our video. And my partner is going to give you another really quick tutorial about how to use our system using the command line and how to set up the Docker. Thank you.
Thanks, Tao. Thanks for your presentation. So Tao has already shown you like how to run our application with GUI in Windows. And now I'm gonna show you how to run our application using Mac. So once you download our zip file, and you can extract it and then save it to a location you want, and then we can use the terminal and then go to that specific location. And then after you're already in that folder, you just use the make build, the similar command that Tao already mentioned, to initialize the Docker image for our SQL database. And then we're going to give it a minute to finish. Okay, so once you see like the similar text message like this, it means like the connection is ready for use. And then we can just go to a new terminal. And then, yeah, go to the same folder. And then in this folder, we just use make command and make all to run our grocery delivery system. And then you can see all these command line examples. And if you still want to, if you want to use GUI, you can just enter GUI, log in GUI, and then you should pop up the same GUI window that Tao has already shown you guys how to use it. And then I'm gonna just skip this part. So I'm gonna briefly introduce you how to use the A3 command line interface that we already had, and we still keep that functionality just for ease of testing purpose. And then test command line interface, and let's try make store. And you see like make store command is working here, and you can display the error message correctly, and also display the store name and revenue here. And then let's do another like a sell item as well. Yeah, you see here, like I've already copied this command just to get you like an idea of how it works. And you see the error message and all these things like it's already in the database. So that's pretty much how we test our program. So yeah, you can always check testing just to check if there's any errors or bad bugs in your program. So after I already enter all this information, we can double check to see if our data is persistent. So we're gonna check it from the GUI interface. So let's do login GUI, and then let's try admin for now. And then we can just display the things we already did through the command line interface. You see like all this data is already persisted in the database, and also display pilot. Like all these things is already filled. Yeah, likewise, like a customer as well. And display items, let's try Kroger here. Yeah. Okay, just want to give you an idea of how our, just show you our database works for the data persistent purpose. And once everything is done, we can do stop. Oh, I think it's already stopped. But yeah, that's probably all the stuff I want to talk about the command line interface. And thanks for listening. And this should conclude our demonstration video.